HarperCollins presents Stephen Fry in America, written and read by Stephen Fry. Intro to the intro. A note from the author. The experiences and adventures you're about to hear about all took place, as I say in the introduction that follows, in 2007 and 2008, the now innocent days before the world was overrun by the full power and ubiquity of smartphones, app stores, and social media, amongst other features of the contemporary world. It is probable that some of the information contained herein will no longer be up-to-the-minute accurate, but I've kept all as it was, rather than attempt to update. So everything you hear is just as I set it down at the time. Yes, even the thoughts about a certain casino owner in New Jersey by the name of Trump. Nothing added and nothing taken away. Whatever may have altered in America thanks to technology, politics, and the tide of history, I think the important elements still hold true. The distinct identities of each state, and, of course, the astonishing variety, grandeur, and beauty of the landscape, not to mention the kindness, craziness, courtesy, kookiness, and complex character of the American people. Introduction. I was so nearly an American. It was that close. In the mid-1950s, my father was offered a job at Princeton University, something to do with the emerging science of semiconductors. One of the reasons he turned it down was that he didn't think he liked the idea of his children growing up as Americans. I was born, therefore, not in NJ, but in NW3. I was 10 when my mother made me a present of this momentous information. The very second she did so, Steve was born. Steve looked exactly like me, same height, weight, and hair colour. In fact, until we opened our mouths, it was almost impossible to distinguish one from the other. Steve's voice had the clear, penetrating, high-up-in-the-head twang of American. He called Mummy Mom. He used words like swell, cute, and darn. There were detectable differences in behaviour, too. He spread jam, which he called jelly, on his smooth, not crunchy, peanut butter sandwiches. He wore jeans, T-shirts, and basketball sneakers, rather than grey shorts, Airtex shirts, and black plimsolls. He had far more money for sweets, which he called candy, than Stephen ever did. Steve was confident almost to the point of rudeness, unlike Stephen, who veered unconvincingly between shyness and showing off. If I'm honest, I have to confess that Stephen was slightly afraid of Steve. As they grew up, the pair continued to live their separate, unconnected lives. Stephen developed a mania for listening to records of old music hall and radio comedy stars, watching cricket, reading poetry and novels, becoming hooked on Keats and Dickens, Sherlock Holmes and P.G. Wodehouse, and riding around the countryside on a moped. Steve listened to blues and rock and roll, had all of Bob Dylan's albums, collected baseball cards, went to movie theatres 3 times a week, and drove his own car. Stephen still thinks about Steve and wonders how he's getting along these days. After all, the two of them are genetically identical. It's only natural to speculate on the fate of a long-lost identical twin. Has he grown even plumper than Stephen, or does he work out in the gym? Is he in the TV and movie business too? Does he write? Is he quintessentially American in the way Stephen is often charged with being quintessentially English? All these questions are intriguing but impossible to settle. If you are British, dear listener, then I dare say you too might have been born American had your ancestral circumstances veered a little in their course.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?